Hello, Najee Barnes here. Today I'm with my good friend Malachi Sims, and we're going to talk about how to develop a real estate strategy. Malachi, when we first kind of got in the game, me and my wife helped sell you your first crib, and essentially, I put you on to my strategy, right? But after a few years, you developed your own strategy that's frankly much different than mine. Talk about what are you doing differently, and most importantly, why did you make the switch strategy-wise?
The main thing was, we were getting those older homes initially. Those old homes break down.
Yes, they do.
Those old homes have surprises that you might not be aware of. I'm a buy and hold guy. I'm doing this, for the generations behind me. I don't want to leave them these super old homes. Why not leave them new homes?
Right.
Right. And new homes require, we were talking about property management earlier, require less maintenance. I have less people calling me about things breaking and issues like that arising. So I'm saving money during the short term, and I have a nicer, newer asset that should stand up to test over time. That I know, since I'm building it, everything about that house.
So you're not buying new homes, you're building new homes.
I build it.
So how do you keep them? Because most builders, they just sell their property off, they go put it on MLS and go sell it afterwards. What are you doing different?
Well, the only thing I'm doing differently is I'm selling to the bank. So
what do you mean? What you talking about? Sell to the bank?
So a builder will say, hey, I'm gonna build this new house, go sell it, and I want all my cash up front now. So I built a house for $200, I went and sold it for $300, I made $100,000. I say, I don't care about making $100,000. I want the house for free.
Well, most people care about that $100,000.
Right. I care about the house for free, because that $100,000, I'm gonna lose 20-30% of it to taxes.
Facts.
And then if I keep it in cash, inflation is gonna kill my cash. It's gonna decrease in value over time. I need to find something, another asset to put that $100,000 in, as opposed to just letting it sit in the bank.
Right.
For me, I say I want this new house that I can rent out and still make money for my generation today, for my son's generation after me, for their son's generation after them, and I'm gonna sell it to the bank via cash out refi. So whatever that house is worth, they're
Are you talking about the BRRRR strategy?
I'm talking about the BRRRR strategy.
Okay.
Just instead of buying, we're gonna build.
Buy and except for build. So you are building to keep or build to rent.
Build to rent.
You mentioned something in there talking about free. How the hell are you gonna build a house for free? What you talking about?
Well, just like on the BRRRR, when you do your cash out refi, I'm a cash out refi. My building cost should be 60 to 70% on the dollar.
Facts.
The
Otherwise you shouldn't be building.
Otherwise I shouldn't be building. The bank is gonna give me 75% of what the house is worth. 75% is more than 60 to 75%, so my house is free.
So it's not just free, you might have some money in your
I might have
pocket.
some money in my pocket, if I choose to.
If you choose
If
to.
I choose to. Then
Or
I
you could leave some equity in
I
there.
can leave the equity in there.
Okay.
But
so,
I'd rather have a free house, that's the main thing.
So you, and then what I want to point out, and I love to tell people, like real estate has a lot of strategies to make money, right? And what we're talking about is Malachi's strategy. And if you hear how he's talking, it's specific to him and specific to what your goals are for your family. So you're saying, hey, I'm really chasing generational wealth. And this is something I'm thinking about now. I'm like, man, do my kids really want this 60, 70-year-old house? Right? Because I got some houses in my portfolio that's legit 60 years old, right? And the question is, because I think that's where a lot of generations kind of lose money, because kids don't want the house. They don't want this old junk. Right? And so you said to yourself, well, if I really want my kids to have something, I kind of got to make something for them to have.
Make something for them to have, make sure it's nice now, make sure it's up to code compared to the old codes that existed prior. But most importantly, when I'm buying something from a builder, I don't know what's behind these walls.
That's big.
That's big, that's major. I don't know what they did. I know what I did.
Right.
I know what I can go out there and see my crews and see the house being built. I just toured the house the other day, and I'm looking as they're doing some of the framing, and I see some of the boards that ain't aligned with the headers at the top, or don't have the nails shot all the way.
And we don't know what they were doing 60 years ago.
I don't know what they were doing 60 years ago. But when I build my homes, I can tour them and walk them and see exactly what's going on and make sure it's a nice product.
And then you know what the electrical looks like in the wall. You know if you ain't got no galvanized pipe or no PVC pipe or just pipe that's just not going to stand up over time. Lots of reason to build. I'm low-key jealous. It's not my strategy, but I'm very, very jealous of this strategy. And it's a smart strategy, right? And if you guys are really into real estate, you'll hear more and more about this build-to-rent phenomenon, right? You got Wallstreet guys that are building whole neighborhoods,
right? Whole neighborhoods, because they know what the opportunities on laws allow them to do. So they go hold for 10 years, then they're going to get out. But the most important thing we miss from just from building the rent is, like you said, you know what's behind those walls. When I eventually do have a problem, I know where to look. I know where everything is.
That's major.
Right.
That's major, because I'm the guy who I'm around here playing, musical chairs. I'm finding the needle in the haystack. Right. I don't know where the problem at. I don't know why I have a problem whenever I have it. We just gotta go figure it out. So that's a big play. Y'all tune in for more information on Build to Rent. Malachi, our strategies aren't necessarily the same. You're doing a lot of build to rent, which is really smart for the future and for future generational wealth. But let's also talk about some cheat codes that you've been able to put into the game, right? And how to stack strategies together. So I've heard from the grapevine, not only are you doing build to rent, but you're also capitalizing on this phenomenon of opportunity zones, right? So first, let's just break down what is an opportunity zone, and then let's talk about how you're adding these two strategies together for success.
Okay, so opportunity zones, they're designated areas that the government has said, hey, if you, the investor, come and invest in these areas, we'll give you a massive tax break. So they want new housing, new development in those areas. In exchange for you coming in to do that, they'll give you where you don't, if you hold the house for 10 years and you sell it, you don't have to pay any capital gains up until like 2047.
So you're gonna pay no taxes on it if you keep it for 10 years.
If you keep it for 10 years.
So
no taxes or depreciation recapture. Huge.
You don't have to pay any of that. So what are these opportunity zones? What areas are they in? Because I heard it's all just rundown areas and all that. Why would somebody want? I mean, I get the tax benefits, but man, I don't want to own in these crappy areas. What's up with that?
Do you like the area you're in now, right now?
I do. This is a pretty dope area.
It's an opportunity zone.
It is an opportunity.
It is an opportunity zone. All of downtown Houston is an opportunity zone.
But that's where
that's where the money is.
That's where the money is.
Yes, correct. So that's a misconception. They have some areas that aren't that great now, right?
Right.
But they have some really prime real estate areas, and that's where I choose to invest in.
And I look at opportunity zones as a way for the government to strategically, frankly, make some areas better. Right? Like some of you guys talk about gentrification, or we talk about, well, why the city won't invest in this? Why my light, the street light is always out, or this road is jacked up, or whatever, or why won't they fix up this area?
Right.
Well, who's the they?
Right.
The they can be us.
Correct.
Right? If we
build it ourselves, and they're giving us a major tax advantage to go in and put your money where your mouth is.
Stop talking and do something.
And do it.
Okay. Now, is it only build products?
It's build or significant rehab. So
what does that mean, significant rehab?
Meaning whatever I bought it for, I got to put that much into it.
Okay.
So if I buy a house for $100, I need to put in $100. That's significant rehab. Or if I get a great deal and I only buy a house for little to nothing, then I have to put little to nothing into it. Just depends on what you can buy.
And I think that's probably one of the key points of the opportunity zone that some people might miss, is that, sometimes you'll get realtors or you'll get people saying, hey, this is an opportunity zone, you should pay extra dollars. What's your thoughts on that?
No, you shouldn't.
No.
You shouldn't pay extra dollars to be
right.
Unless the only way you should pay extra is if you know 10 years from now I'm for sure planning to cash out and avoid this tax, then it might be worth paying extra for. But if you're just using this as an extra strategy, then I wouldn't pay for it.
So this is just an icing on the cake strategy.
Correct.
Got it. So let's be clear. More of an icing on the cake strategy versus going down that path.
Well, no, actually, let me edit that. It can be an icing on the cake strategy, because what you see all the Wallstreet's coming in and doing all this build to rent.
Yeah.
They're taking their money.
Yeah.
From their investors.
Yeah.
They're going to park it in these homes for 10 years, and then they're going to cash out tax free. So
they're taking money that they've already made on Wall Street.
They're taking money from Wall Street, selling all those stocks.
Do they pay taxes on that?
Not now, because it's deferred.
Because they put it in an opportunity zone. Okay.
They defer the capital gain, put it in an opportunity zone, then they'll pay tax on that sale in 2026. But then as the homes mature over time, they're going to hold them for 10 years and they appreciate in value. They're going to sell all those homes tax-free and walk away.
This kind of remind me of, I'm from Houston, so this kind of remind me of an old Beyonce song. and she was talking about when she first got with Jay-Z, she was talking about flipping money 3 ways.
Right.
This sounds like flipping money 3 ways.
Flipping money, you can, because now what I get to do if I build a new house, I know that if I hold it for 10 years, again, I'm a buy and hold investor. If I hold it for 10 years, simply renting it out, I can sell it and not pay capital gains tax on it. And since it's new development, depending on how I want to rent it out, let's say I put it on Airbnb, then that allows me to create losses, which I can use against my W-2 income because it's on short-term rental, and I make money that way too.
So let's summarize this up, if I'm hearing this right. We're just talking about Malachi Sam's strategy right now, because I'm hearing a whole lot of things, right? So number one, you're doing build to rent, so you can get a new real estate product, frankly, for 60 cents, 70 cents on the dollar, which you can buy on the open market.
Correct.
Right?
Which will save me money on rehab and, on expenses over time and maintenance and things like that.
And where are you building these at?
In opportunity zone.
In opportunity zone, so you can get
So I can have the option to sell it tax-free as long as I hold it 10 years up until 2047, and that will mean I don't have to pay capital gains tax or depreciation recapture.
So that's two strategies.
And then,
third,
since I know I don't have to pay depreciation recapture, I'm going to take all that bonus depreciation now, put it on short-term rental, create a loss from the real estate, and use that loss against my W-2 income.
And just recap again, why are you doing it on the short-term rental? Because one, we know short-term rentals could possibly make more money than long-term rentals. Right. So that's a benefit. And then what's the other benefit again, just so we can recap for the people? So
when you invest in real estate, all the income you make is passive income, because they figure it don't take you managing it every day, right?
Right.
Your regular job is active income. The two can't combine. So one of the ways the two can combine is if I work more on real estate than I do my active job. That's dang near impossible to do, right? But short-term rentals, the government looks at that as active management.
And you can write that off.
You can write that active management off.
So you get to write off that bonus depreciation that you take up front because of the style of holding strategy or management, or however you want to look at it, of short-term rentals.
Right.
You can take that now, wipe out some of your W-2 income.
Wipe out some of my W-2 income. Now the money I would pay Uncle Sam, I can use that money to invest.
Hey, just like that. If y'all didn't hear, massive gain. You talking about 3 distinct real estate strategies, adding up to one, stacking them. Frankly, you came up with this strategy because that fits your life. It fits what you got going on. So guys, there's a lot of ways to make money in real estate. Tap into my man Malachi Sims, number one. If you're visiting Houston, come stay with Houston Retreats or The Escape. Either one, we appreciate you, we love you, and this is how you develop your own neighborhood. Where are your properties located?
So I focus specifically 3rd Ward, where we're from, and 5th Ward. And I'm in control of who lives in those locations.
And what the benefit is, and he kind of hitting it a little bit, but I'll kind of hammer it. This is also a way to make a gang of money, save on taxes, and actually be a benefit to your neighborhood and your area, right? And that's the other key. Real estate don't have to always be take. You're actually giving back to your area and your community and making the area and the community better because you're putting new product in, and you're also making sure that we ain't got no knuckleheads bringing in the area doing knucklehead type of stuff.
And most importantly, like I said, you're getting the benefit of knowing, hey, I get all this extra bonus depreciation and extra money up front. I get the benefit of knowing later on I can sell and not have to pay taxes. I can choose to pass that benefit on to the tenants and people in my community, and I can keep their rents low because I'm getting extra money from the government.
There you go. Just like that, y'all. Tap into us for more gems like that. Appreciate you, Malachi. You're making money that's not taxable, right? Everyone else in the world is making money that's taxed at 24%, 28%. What's the brackets right now? 38% of the
48.
Go up to 48%. So if you're making
47%.
So I don't know if you remember this conversation, Malachi, years ago when I actually started growing my portfolio a little bit. I called you, I said, man, these taxes kicked my ass. And I was like, what do I do? Do you remember what you told me? Because I do remember what you told me.
I don't remember what
buy more? Well, you said buy more, but you also said get away. The best way to do it is to get away from W-2 income.
Yes.
So Most people have W-2 income. So explain that. How you? I don't know if you. I know. I'm sure. I'm just throwing it out to you, but explain that piece to it. Because most people, my man in the background is like, I got W-2 income. What you talking about? Yeah. What you talking about, Craig?
So you losing on that. That's not what the money's made.
Yeah. So talk about that for half a second.
So W-2 income, you're taxed at the highest tax rate. That's the bottom line. Investment income, you're typically taxed at like a 20% rate or so. W-2 income can go...
Because the capital gain is a max at 20%, right?
Yes.
So, and this is the piece that I want everybody to kind of click on. There's more than one type of income.
Right.
So working for somebody, that's your W-2 income. Right? But a lot of people make money other different ways.
Right.
And typically, and this kind of sucks for everybody else, those other ways a lot of times make more money and a lot of times get taxed better.
They make more money, they get taxed higher, but since you're not out there providing something that the government says we want people to do, they're not giving you a tax break for what you're doing. So investors, really people that have businesses for people to get jobs, that provide housing for people to stay, something the government needs help with that they don't want to spend all their time doing, you have to be aligned with what they're giving the tax break for. And if you just simply go to work for somebody, you're not providing.
You're not doing anything else for society.
For society, for the government to say, we're going to help you out.
Gotcha. So one of the best ways, guys, for me, it was an aha moment, hence I remember this conversation years ago, was just saying, it's not really about making more money. It might be about how you make your money.
Correct.
Right? So that's a key, right? So for me, initially, my first place I was thinking about capital gains. I'm like, okay, well, who's making capital gains taxes? Flippers, stock traders.
Well, flippers, ordinary income.
Or ordinary income.
Yeah,
gotcha.
So that's regular.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But it is like 2 years or something like that on the flip in real estate, right? To get to a capital gains. Was that 18 months?
1 year.
1 year. 1 year. Okay, got it. But I'm thinking of stock traders, right?
Right.
Those guys typically make a lot of money. You're a Wall Street guy, whatever, they make a lot of money. So you telling me not only they're making more money than us, but they also get taxed at a better rate than us for the most part, either a W-2.
Depending on what they invest in. So if they're investing in stuff and then they hold it for at least a year, you got to hold it for at least a year to avoid the long-term capital gain. To get that 20%. That long-term capital gain.
Gotcha. And in real estate, you actually got a whole lot more benefits like the 1031s and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I guess when you have W-2 and you're investing, I mean that's where you were, right?
That's correct.
That's where you were getting hit with so many taxes. So in order for him to really get the break, you got to leave the employer and become the employer.
Not necessarily. You can still have your job, but you just have to find a way to take all the benefits from over here and get them to offset what's going on over here.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I invest in short-term rentals.
Okay.
Because it gives me a chance to create a loss here and use it here.
Gotcha. When you say the loss is from a W-2.
The loss is from my business.
Okay, gotcha.
So we like passive losses, right?
Like a passive loss.
So what's a passive loss?
Well, it's really not necessarily a passive loss. It's that I'm creating a loss, a mythical loss. I'm not actually going out and spending more money to get a deduction. I'm creating a deduction.
I want to stop you right. You said you're not spending more money for a deduction because that's a big one. I heard what you said. I'm not sure if everybody here is going to hear what you said because there's certain gurus out here say, oh, go buy you a G-Wagon and write that off as a deduction, right?
Right.
I would call that spending money for a deduction.
Correct.
Which
so your deduction, the government gives you a break, but they're not going to give it to you dollar for dollar.
Right.
So whatever your tax rate is, let's say you're in a 20% tax bracket, your deduction, you spend $1, the government's going to give you 20% back because all they're doing is writing down what you owe them in tax.
And so for me, I've always thought that was, you got the gurus out here telling people to do that. And I'm like, that's not necessarily something I recommend. I basically say if you want and you really, really need that G-Wagon, here's an extra benefit. But don't go the opposite way. Don't go buying something super expensive that you don't necessarily need, chasing a deduction that you're not going to get the full benefit from.
Correct. Unless you know that I'm going to spend so much in taxes and I can go buy this, and the deduction I create from buying this
will offset.
Will kind of offset and make it like if I wanted to give the government 40, right, but I can go get the G-Wagon and give them 20.
Okay, then that starts to make sense a little bit.
A portion, you kind of got to balance it out and see. But you just shouldn't go off spending all your money
just to get
20% back.
Yeah,
or 30% back. It doesn't make sense. It needs to align with something like I want or need this to operate in my business, or I really want to have this to make it work for me.
No, that's definitely.
And when you say 20%, that's 20% in taxes. So it's not necessarily the purchase price of the vehicle, or is the purchase price a part of?
No. So whatever you spend, whatever your tax rate is, that's how much you're actually getting back.
Oh, okay.
So if I spend $1 over here and my tax rate's 30%, I'm getting 30 cents back. I'm not getting the full $1.
And it's not a whole credit, right? Which is different than a deduction.
Correct.
Okay.
We love credits.
We love credits.
We love credits.
Credits are a credit against your tax. That's like dollar for dollar.
Okay.
The deduction is just the percent based on your tax rate.
So that's where the tax bill is lower, because you can also get money back from your taxes, or is this more of just lowering the tax bill?
You can lower it to the point where you get a refund from all the money you may have paid out throughout the year, which is again why I invest in short-term rentals.
Gotcha.
Yes, so taxes is one of the, look, that's something that you should consider, right? That I don't think a lot of people consider up front when you're developing your real estate strategy.